So I had my girls, 7-year-old, 15-year-old. They both struggling with little things they don't like about themselves. So I had us tell each other what we liked about each other. And they went first, and then I went last, where they got to tell me what they like about me. And my teenager points out that she loves how I dress and do my makeup, and that I change it up. Like, she loves when she sees I'm in a different outfit for this occasion and this. She loves that I'm bold in that way, that I go after what I want. Didn't I just talk about all the little teenage twats that didn't like that about me?
I see the way they talk about themselves. I see the way they feel about themselves. And I see like how they're projecting with their friends. And then when they come into my office, it's a completely different kid. And I see parts of me. I always see parts of me in the work that I do because there's still teenage Mandy is still in here fighting for her life to not be the awkward one, fighting for her life to just like feel normal, look normal, sound normal.
This guy draws or has these two people meet and they talk. And then he's like, can you please describe this person to me? And then he also is like, can you please describe yourself to me?
I
It's crazy how he draws, how you depict yourself. You're like, oh, my nose, I have this button nose, like my jaw, I have a little bit of a round face, right? And then when the other person who talked to you is like, "Oh my gosh, she had the most beautiful nose. It was little round, like those cute button noses. Her jawline was very soft." Like the way that other people speak about us, and again, we're all works in progress on this because we are our own worst enemies.
3 women, 3 paths, 1 mission. To prove that your story is not your limitation, to guide you towards your muchness, to explore the unfiltered truths, and to challenge every bit of belief that built your mask. This is Go Be Too Much, the unapologetic space for the bold, the healing, and the unfinished, where we decide what's too much was always meant for more. So let's chat. Maybe we'll fuck around and find out just how unmissable we all are.
I've had it.
Well, with that, Mary, why don't you introduce us?
Welcome to Go Be Too Much, where we're yapping away and not recording. So we're just turning it on and going with the flow today. I'm MJ, the host, and here's Casi and Mandy. And we welcome and invite you to be your most authentic self and enjoy our yap session today. We're about to see where it goes. We turn this on in mid-moment of Mandy calling in, as she says, to Casi, and had already called me in. So apparently today is some accountability and how to give that, critical feedback, criticism, but calling them in. So Mandy, I'm going to let you explain this theory behind calling people in.
Mhm.
So well, you really do, because it doesn't feel attacking, slightly judgmental sometimes, but like in a very loving, like
But
way.
from the heart.
Yes. Well, like I tell people all the time, tough love with a hug, because
Yes.
I am very aware of my tone most of the time. And I do alter it. I do try to soften it. And so when people are like, that's judgmental or harsh, like I'm like, you should have heard what my original thoughts were, or how that initial knee jerk, like what the fuck moment was. I do try to take that into consideration, because I know that my initial unfiltered thoughts can be like, they can be in your face. And if it's in your face, none of us are going to listen to that. None of us are going to listen when we are activated because this asshole said some things. Maybe later when we go and reflect on it. So my simple shift of just, I'm not calling you out, I'm calling you in and welcoming you into the discussion, calling you into the circle where we just air it out, air this bitch out. Let's talk about all of the things. Let's talk about our spending habits. Let's talk about our relationship choices. Let's talk about how we're showing up in our jobs. Like, is this aligning with what you want? and not like what you say you want, what you're putting out there, but what you actually want. Or is this what your mom or your dad wants? Is this what your best friend wants? Is this what your spouse or partner wants? Like, what the fuck do you want? Because I sit here in my eyeballs and I observe absolutely everything. Like, I am reading energy, I am reading the room, I am reading body language. You tell me what song you listen to. My God, I put my shuffle on Spotify this morning. I haven't done that in a while, but on my walk, I was like, let's just put it on shuffle. I'm gonna put on shuffle. And I was like, who the fuck liked this song? Where was I at in my life? What was going on with this moment? And I remember, I remember what was going on in my life. So, the universe, or Gus, as Mary is always talking about her Gus shuffle, called me in for reflection on those moments. So we're not calling out feels judgy, feels aggressive, and feels like we're about to start some shit, but I'm going to call you in. I'm going to welcome you to the discussion. I'm going to welcome you to the reflection and like, have you thought about it? Did you notice that? Like, could you tell me more about why this thing or whatever it is? So that is where I like to start the conversation with anyone. And usually people who know me or who know my style, they're like, oh fuck. Like this is gonna be one of those conversations. Like, yeah, let's talk about it. Let's accountability. So let's get into it.
And the reason this got started off is because we were talking about we are now doing episodes every other week because life, right? And pivoting. And we were talking about how can we benefit the listeners and still provide value and context and stuff like that. And we were talking about possibly showcasing our personal profiles and how all of us are uniquely different and how all of you guys will fit in with some way, shape, or form. And what that boiled down to was Mandy calling me in about I need to put myself out there. And the thought of putting myself out there gives me the heebie jeebies. I do not sit well with putting myself out there. I have done administrative assistant work for 15 years where I'm the person behind making all the magic happen. And kind of like this podcast, I do all the behind the scene things. Like I am good.
I'm glad you mentioned that because it was coming for you. That comment was coming for you.
Like I am very good at behind the scenes, but I want to vomit at the thought of being in the spotlight and stuff like that. And it's interesting because I have told Mary and Mandy about the idea, and now I guess I'm telling the world since I'm putting it out in the atmosphere, that I really would like to do public speaking and to get on a stage and talk about my story and that kind of thing. And in order for me to even do that,
Mm.
I need to put myself out there. And so it's crazy that something that I want to do, I got to do these other things that scare the shit out of me to do it. And so when Mandy's like, "Oh, Cassie, can you make a couple videos so we can post it on Gopi Too Much's page?" And I'm like,
Mhm.
"Yeah, sure. I guess I could do that." But it is going to help. It is going to help me. It is going to put me out there. And even in my career, like I can't be a secret agent. Nobody's going to
Mhm.
use me if nobody knows who you are. And
Mhm.
I actually heard this quote that it is not about who you know, but who knows you and can remember you. Because
Yes.
because
Yes.
that's it's true. Like I could know so many people, but if they don't know who I am and remember me for what I do and who I am, it doesn't matter. Nobody's going to refer you to me. Nobody's going to call me and be like, hey, Cassie, I thought of this and, whatever. Like it is not about who you know. It's who knows you and who remembers you. So I thought that was a pretty cool quote that I somehow magically put into this podcast because that was not on the agenda for me today.
You're welcome.
I was like, and isn't there a quote about like when we like morbid, but when we pass, like it's not the things you did for people, but it's how
How
you
you
made them
make me
feel.
feel.
Like
Mhm.
that's what people are going to remember. It's not going to be all the things that you did. It's going to be how you made them feel. And
Yeah.
that is what it's that rapport with people that creates the continued open opportunities.
Mhm.
And we can believe that we are good and we would want to know each other, like in that we can have that rapport, but to be vulnerable enough to allow that. And so like Mandy talking about like watching body language and energies and things like that, I was like, I totally get that. And that's what we do in order to build that rapport. And that's not just in like a therapeutic sense, like just with friends or other business opportunities. And it's so funny because in my life coaching classes that I'm taking to get certified in these 7 international certificates of new approaches, they were talking about just this and about how like mirroring people, in their behaviors or matching it, right? Those subtle little things is partly what creates that rapport without us even knowing it. And so it's the facial expressions, it's the changes in how we're feeling when we're talking to somebody. But how often do we not even listen to our own sensories that's happening in situations to know that something is good or not good for us? And so then when you get to this place where you're like, I want to make a change, you don't know how to you don't know how to proceed because you've not been listening to that all this time. And so it's so unknown and uncomfortable, just like everything else we talk about on here.
I'm so glad we pushed record. The thoughts that are just firing off in my head right now. I was sharing with Cassie before we popped on officially about my walk this morning and kind of all the things that were popping up with music, because music is major in my life. I think everyone's life, and that's one of the first ways. Yeah, that's how I build rapport with teenagers. Right? Adults don't necessarily know how I'm feeling or what's going on, but we can connect. I know that I feel something with this song. And so I will always ask students, what is the last song that you listened to? What was your Spotify Wrapped? Or what is the song that you're listening to most? This week I had a handful of students bring me different songs once they found out I like K-pop and they want to try and like share music, and they're always either impressed that I knew it or they're excited because I don't know it. And now they get to share this thing with me. And even the kid, bless his heart, that came into my office and hates K-pop, he was looking around like, what the fuck? Because he had a Metallica shirt on. And I was like, I'm going to go ahead and make an assumption here. I'm going to jump to a little conclusion that K-pop's not your thing. And he's like, I hate K-pop. I was like, and that is fine. Tell me more. Tell me why. Tell me why you hate K-pop. Tell me why you love Metallica. And we're chit-chatting, and his demeanor is changing. He is sinking into my couch a little bit. He is loosening up. I don't know shit about Metallica. Couldn't tell you what a Metallica song is. However, it gave him the opportunity to teach me, to tell me what he connects with and why that was important to him, and his first experience at a Metallica concert and how important that was to him, and just like the shield that came down getting to talk about that in this space. And I'm like, I do not know anything about this, but I'm going to go look it up now. And I know enough about your communication. I know enough about your passion, your interests. I know like what calms you down, because this student came to me. We had heavy things to talk about. We had to be serious for a moment. We had to do those things, but like he just got to geek out for a moment, and he just had that space. And now I have that knowledge that I didn't have before, because I just took the time to listen. And it never leaves my brain when a kid tried to shock me. He was a new kid that I had, I don't know, handful of years ago. And he hated everyone. He was miserable. He was in the foster care system. He was just very much, fuck you, fuck everyone. I don't want to be here. And so I asked him, like, what's your favorite song? He said, No Vaseline by Ice Cube. And if anyone is not familiar with that song, that is like probably top 3 diss tracks ever made ever. And it's very aggressive. It is very much like, fuck you, I'm gonna tell you how I feel and hear all of my grievances. One, he didn't expect me to know it. He did not expect me to know it. Two, he did not expect the follow-up questions that I had, because I knew that song, and because we got to have that moment of like, do you know he doesn't perform that song live anymore because he repaired some of those relationships with all of his group members? Do you know that it's still out there? It is still the classic that it is for what it was. I was like, but he doesn't perform it because he went and he made amends with the people that he was saying fuck you to. It's like, is there anyone that you feel like you want to make amends with? Is there anyone you feel like you want to hear this song right now? Like, tell me who we're mad at. But because I knew that reference, I'm like, oh, this kid hates everyone. This kid is rightfully pissed off at the world, and he feels wronged. And we had a beautiful conversation because of it. So rapport building, music, I could go on and on. I could go on and on.
Well, and I think music always speaks to people because songs say what we're thinking and we don't know how to put into
Correct.
words. Like nowadays we have ChatGPT, which we can word vomit in and it can make sense of what we're thinking. But the OGs of us, like we used to send songs. Like if I was mad at you, if I
The
loved you,
burn
if I was
CD.
feeling it, like you were like this, I'm burning a new CD when we all had LimeWire and, you know, like what songs do I need to put on here and what one's going to corrupt
Yes.
my computer, like that. I feel like especially
Yeah.
for us, like it is a way of communication even to this day. Like you talking about K-pop is how you have made almost
Yes.
hundreds of connections,
Yes.
we'll just say
Yes.
tens and tens of relations, so
Blown up
far.
in it. Yeah.
Right? And all because of this, like, and I just feel like music is how people come together on different things. And even though, like, I'll be the first to say, I love metal, rock, scream, whatever. But like Mandy will send me K-pop stuff and now it's sprinkled into my algorithm and I do enjoy it. It's not something I listen to all the time, but I like if it's on there I'm like, okay, like cool, right? But I think people underestimate like shit. I've been sending Mary songs forever. She sends me songs. You're like, this fits. Like, or if you're talking and Gus is doing his thing, all of a sudden the song comes on, you're like,
Mm-hmm.
touche, Basil, touche. I got you. I hear you.
Well, and I agree with you. I've always said that music is what feelings sound like. And I
Mm-hmm.
actually have a tattoo that is a heart that's open with music notes floating out of it because of that very reason. It is true that those lyrics speak to us. It helps us understand
Mm-hmm.
ourselves. And when you continue to heal and you progress and you become more aware, you can even start to find in the music those things that you're needing to hear, those things that help guide you. And you mentioned Gus. And so I just want to explain like Gus shuffle. So reminder, Gus is God, universe, source, and spirit, right? All the things, covering all the things people believe in out there. And a Gus shuffle is when you kind of take a pause and take a moment and you just ask like for whatever it is that you believe or Gus to help you have clarity, to help you have guidance, to what it is that I need to hear in this moment or today. And you just hit shuffle. And it doesn't mean that every song that comes up is going to be it, but you just let yourself be in that moment with that intention and allow yourself to hear what it is that you need. And promise you, it's amazing when you do it and it happens. And but talking about music is and words and the impact, that's what we've been talking about with mindset and shifting those focuses on positives and negatives. And when you listen to certain music, like Mandy, I agree, like you hit the shuffle and you're like, oh my God, where was I at when this song came on? And like certain things resonate for certain moments, right? I do believe that like, yes, we need to listen to the songs that feed our soul, that like make us feel that comfort. But also it's thinking about how can we add in some alternative options?
Mm-hmm.
Because if all you listen to is that same thing, then you stay stuck in that identity of it. And we become that identity of those negative things or those hardships or our trauma. And so when we're trying to create our new identity or be ourselves, the thing that sucks us back in to our old identity that we're trying to shed is those things. And that's not to say that like I still can't love Hinder and 3 Days Grace like anybody else's business, which will shock the shit out of most people. But it's like also enjoy EDM. I also enjoy country. I all like and to allow myself to listen to different vibrations, different messages rather than the same one over and over again. And I used to not believe that. I used to be like, no, that's not true. This feeds my soul. This gets me. This makes me feel better. And in some aspects, it did because it comforted me, but it didn't help me grow out of it. It kept me
Mhm.
stuck in it. And so we talk about shifting our mindset and we've kind of like grazed over it and stuff, but I want to talk a little bit deeper about that. And that Cassie always says, like, don't compare your chapter 2 to somebody's chapter 30. Well, how did we get from chapter 2 to 30 in our mindset? Because now we talk about it like it's the hardest thing you'll do to shift mindset, to think positive versus the negative. But you just have to do it. And here's a couple ways of maybe doing it, like affirmations or things like that. And it sounds so easy to us now. And when I describe it, I feel like I'm describing it like it's easy, but I know how hard it is. And so it's like, how can we help you all understand those steps in between? And what brought this to me, Mandy's talking about teenagers and stuff, was that my own teenager, we were talking about self-esteem and things like that. And I was saying, like, I know it's hard, but you can't just sit on those negatives. And if you don't identify a positive, you will only see the negative, right? Again, came to the conclusion from my life coach class, not something that's new to me, but that reminded me of how to better explain this is if I tell you all right now not to focus on my cup,
That's all we're focused on.
it's like, what are
That's
you
it.
going to be like? Yeah, look at that cool cup. And yes, this is my way to point out my cool cup. But I tell you that and you're like, I want to focus on that now. Okay, well, but I don't want you to focus on this. I want you to focus on the other thing, right? So same thing with our thought. If all you do is focus on the negative thing that happened or the negative thought that enters your mind, or the minute a group of people come up to you and you think, oh my God, I'm just going to be awkward and this is going to be horrible. And what do I do? What do you think you're going to do? You're going to be awkward. It's going to be horrible. You're not going to like it, right? And so it is hard to change that, but you change that by coming up with like just a few key phrases that you can start saying to yourself in those moments and in the morning and at night, right? Like that's what I suggest. And so coming up with the statement, like you see the group of people coming up and you feel like you're just like, I can handle this. I know these people. Something just so simple that's just positive enough that you just don't, you focus on that and the outcome of it. Go ahead. I know you got things. Yap away.
So yeah, I was just gonna, what's that red car theory, right? You don't notice red cars ever until you drive a red car. Your negative thoughts don't, we live in them. We find the negative thought, the red car, and then it's just like nitpicking. I think, Cassie talks about not wanting to be perceived, not wanting to like put your face out there. And I hate like recording myself. I hate recording videos because you're looking at yourself and you're just nitpicking, quite literally, like physically nitpicking yourself. And there's all this discourse online about filters and transparency and AI and things like that, because you do have vulnerable people. You have young people that are looking at all of this content, consuming all this content. Everyone looks perfect, and there's this push towards like nobody wants that. Everybody wants realness. So why, when I go to record a video, do I'm like, there's the pimple, there's my third eye, it's right there. Like that's all I see. It doesn't matter what I just shared or what I was excited about. I was like, there's my 15 chins again. I'm like, that's not nice. That's not very kind. And my God, my kids at school have been calling me in so much lately. Like if I say anything that's less than kind to myself, like, Miss, that's not very nice. Miss, you're right. You're right. I am thankful that I got up and I am on this walk today. I am thankful that my hair is still on my head and I still can do the things, even though it pissed me off this morning. Like, you're correct. You are correct. And it is. We talk to teenagers all day. Mary, you've got teenagers. Cassie, you're about to have a preteen teenager. And I eat, sleep, and breathe teenagers all day. And I see it. I see the way they talk about themselves. I see the way they feel about themselves. And I see like how they're projecting with their friends. And then when they come into my office, it's a completely different kid. And I see parts of me. I always see parts of me in the work that I do, because there's still, teenage Mandy is still in here fighting for her life to not be the awkward one, fighting for her life to just like feel normal, look normal, sound normal. Don't be the country kid. Don't be the kid that's just got the oh my God, my acne as a teenager. When kids would ask me what's wrong with my face, like little kids would be like, what's wrong with your face? I would die publicly as
That's
a
so
teenager.
sad.
It's the worst. And like my heart just drops thinking about it. Oh God. And like being a foot taller than everyone, or, being told by basketball coaches that I needed to lose weight. There was nothing about me in high school that needed to lose weight. And now, living in the world as an adult, very much I could say, fuck it, I don't care. But like, don't be a dick. Like, I do care. Fuck you. Like, I'm fine the way I am, but fuck you for knowing that is like a sensitive, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're all doing our best and we have frontal lobes. So that's me yapping. Sorry.
No,
my own
I
tangents.
literally think that's what we created this podcast to be, was to be us yapping, and it's always interesting because depending on the topic and really the day, especially when I'm recording, I can just see who was talking the most or who was really quiet or whatever. So it's always intriguing to me, like what really like pops us off and like we're super passionate about. I won't say aggressive. I will say passionate because we do want to
Mm-hmm.
convey
Change
those
the air
things.
because we're women and
And
we can be passionate.
damn Skippy. And when you were talking about like your basketball coach and stuff, like I think about growing up. And again, this goes back to me working on putting myself out there. There was something I was reading that was talking about like what happened to you as a kid where you tried to put yourself out there and you were
Mhm.
rejected again and again and again. And in turn, you're like, oh, I can't be the front runner, but if I'm the runner up and help that person because I am a very helpful person, like the assistant, like we'll talk basketball, like giving the assist to the 3-point shooter, to the tall girl who can just lap it in, right?
Literally
And you literally
block
just
that
stand
shot.
there.
Block that shot.
Like I more than likely, I'd have to really sit with it, but like more than likely have gotten rejected numerous times on all of these things. But at one point, I was assisting people and I don't like taking credit, even though I'm the one who may have done these things. Like I don't take credit for it and they get the credit. Like I found that to be rewarding to myself. So now I'm okay with being in the background. And so, as shitty as it is at 30 to start over on those things, because like I know when I talk, I do. I make things sound like they're second nature. It's because I've just been working on things for so long that I do get complacent and I do need to understand that the listeners are not where I'm at. But like right now, I'm starting at ground zero of putting myself out there and it makes me want to fucking vomit. And so it'll be interesting a year from now to see where I'm at and us reflecting back on certain things, right? Because I started real estate a year ago and what I know now is wild to me. Like I am now helping new agents being like, "Hey, listen, this is what I none of this fucking matters, man. Like, I know you think it does. And I was the same. I was like, I'm above all. I know all that. You know, you don't. I'm just telling you, like, be who you are. Because I saw this Gary Vee saying the other day, he's like, people are like, I want to recreate niches and I want to reinvent the wheel and I want to do all this. And he's like, listen, nobody is unique. He's like, you know what? Or no niche is unique. No thing has been untouched. He's like, you know what is unique? You and
You
who you are, and people follow you because there are 26 sports broadcasters, but I happen to listen to this one person because of how they say it, their jokes, like their tone, right? Like the one girl who does Get Ready With Me, she's not the first one, nor is she the only one, but people like her for who she is. And it's just realizing that like we were put on this earth as us, we are good enough, and that I need to accept the fact that I am not for everybody, but you know what? I will find those people who do want to follow and roll with punches.
Yeah. Oh, and I agree. Like the part of me in doing this and this business, and um, it's so funny because I already see myself as successful because of what I went with my college education and what I do for a living is a 9 to 5, right? But the idea of success and things around this, then there's that, how many other people right now out there are talking about, authenticity, being themselves, finding themselves, not letting other people dim their light, Gus, right? Spiritual things, hot topic. Like, so getting out of my way in the terms of well, what I say and how I have to say it and how I'll share it, that does matter. And it might resonate with somebody that other people, the way they're saying it isn't resonating it. Right. And it's not clicking in them. But when I do it, it might. Right. And not letting that hold us back that, oh, it's the same. Somebody else is doing it. And that comparison, the thief. Right. And
Mm-hmm.
that like, oh, they're talking about it. So if I talk about it, am I copying? Am I masking? Am I, all these things? And it's like, no, like put it out there in your own spin, do it in your own way. And those who are meant to find you will. And I just quoted this in my TikTok this week was that if you build it, they will come. Like and it's just true. Like, and you guys sharing about the things, that have in your childhood and stuff. And I was sitting here thinking about like, yeah, typical. I was bullied. I was the awkward kid that lived in the country. I, was heavier growing up, and I tried to be in the sports. I could be friends with kind of everybody. I didn't necessarily fit in just one group. I didn't really get along, it felt like, with girls, got along better with guys. And as I went into like high school and stuff, I remember times of being just confident in me, cocky, and just be like, well, just watch this, right? And like, but in a humble aspect. But the response from those things then were presented as though that I was cocky, or that I was, what's the word? The like wanting the attention, right? And it's like, no, that's just who I am. Like, I'm gonna talk, I'm gonna say the thing, and I did that in college too. And there was a little bit of a better response around that. But I think for me, that really affected my boldness, right? Shining. And then let's not even get into about relationships and like outshining them. Whoa. Right. And so it's for me, and the visibility and stuff, like, fuck, put me on a stage, let me talk, let me act it out. Like, I love theater. I did theater in junior high and passed that leap roll up to play fucking volleyball, which didn't end up wanting me later in life. I picked the wrong path there for a reason. We're coming back around to it. It's coming in your future. But nonetheless, put me in, coach. I'm there. But my issue with the visibility is the mocking, the fear of those comments, the judgment, right? And it's like, let them judge. Let them have their thoughts, because the truth is, whatever I'm doing makes me emotional. That's causing that in them. It's something in them that can't handle it. Because I know I'm not cocky. I believe my friends would never think that of me. But you're damn right that I'm going to be bold, and I'm going to be out there, and I won't hold that back anymore. And if people want to see that as attention, cocky, full of herself, like, let them. It is a powerful statement. And to stay true to your own intentions and your own belief in what you know of what you're doing, and free yourself of those limited beliefs that say, if I act this way, people are going to do this. People are going to be people. And the most amazing thing, Mandy, you talked about like healing you, talking to your kids. That was me just on the couch with my teenager. So I had my girls, 7-year-old, 15-year-old. They both struggling with little things they don't like about themselves. So I had us tell each other what we liked about each other. And they went first, and then I went last, where they got to tell me what they like about me. And my teenager points out that she loves how I dress and do my makeup, and that I change it up. Like, she loves when she sees I'm in a different outfit for this occasion and this, and she loves that I'm bold in that way, that I go after what I want. Didn't I just talk about all the little teenage twats that didn't like that about me? So it was so healing, because here I am. I'm like, I'm such a cool teenager, and she just thought that I'm so cool. So it's healing those parts of us. And when those things come up and we're uncomfortable, or we think that we should, it's because that needs healed. It needs the attention of it. And I even had that moment then with my littlest one. She went with me to the gym yesterday, and she's like doing the exercises and saying, go mom, and then she's like, why do you want to work out? And it was a beautiful relief for me to say, because I love it. Because I enjoy being strong. I want to be strong. I like to be healthy. I got to keep picking you up.
Yes.
And
That's no small feat.
right. And that was healing for me as a child, of the being overweight and thinking it's a weight problem. And that my response to her, that's how much healing I've done in that, is that my response to her was not so that I can lose weight. And I wasn't even thinking about saying it to because I'm very cautious of how I speak about myself because of what they hear and reflect. It wasn't even about that. It was just natural. And yes, that's my chapter 30 to chapter 2 on my body image. But I share that because I want to encourage people to start seeing the things in them that come up and digging deep to find what is that root? What in that is needing to be healed as a child, as a teenager, as a young adult, as 2 years ago, as 4 months ago? Yapping, passionate, crying. Sorry.
No, you're good. Well, and it just goes like, we all know who Mel Robbins is. Mel Robbins didn't become somebody until like her 40s or almost 50s, right? Like, she's been who she is almost her whole life, and yet now all of us know the let him, or let them, let all of the different speeches she has. And I was thinking, Mary, when you said that, I don't know if other listeners have seen this on social media, but this guy draws or has these two people meet and they talk. And then he's like, can you please describe this person to me? And then he also is like, can you please describe yourself to me?
I
And
love that experiment. He is
and
amazing.
it is oh, he is so talented, holy gosh.
Yes.
But, like, it's crazy how he draws how you depict yourself. You're like, "Oh, my
Mhm.
nose, I have this button nose, like, my jaw, I have a little bit of a round face," right? And then when the other person who talked to you is like, "Oh my gosh, she had the most beautiful nose. It was little round, like those cute button noses. Her jawline was very soft." Like, the way that
Mhm.
other people speak about us, and again, we're all works in progress on this because we are our own worst enemies, but we should be kinder to ourselves and learning how to do that because when people give us compliments, and we've talked about this a lot, we instantly go, "Thank you." Like, I'm still doing it. Like, I know I messaged Mary yesterday and was like, "Thank you. I am going to accept this even though it is hard. Thank you." And she's like, "You're welcome." I'm like, "No, whatever." Right? Like, it is so hard for us to do that. And I think just trying to work on your inner self because we've talked about this again too. You can't control what other people do. I can't control what Mary does, Mandy does, Rick does, Davina does, but I can control how it is. Sometimes we don't know where to go. And so we do go on the internet or like look to other people and just try to use your discernment on is what I'm looking up online good for me or is it leading me further down the rabbit hole? Is this person I'm asking advice from good for me or are they trying to, hold me back? I seen this other quote. I feel like all these quotes that I've seen in the last couple days are segueing into this
Huh.
topic, but it was talking about how strangers always support you because they don't know who you are, but they're like, "Let's fucking go." And the people who you know normally don't support you, and it could be because you guys grew up the same. You are in the same spot, but why are you going further than them? And so it's like, yeah, strangers are going to support you and the people that are close to you, I'll say 8 out of 10 times are not going to support you and that's okay. Like you're not trying to speak to those 8. You're trying to speak to those 2 and that 2 is going to multiply, right? So,
When you give yourself permission and you let your light shine, like you are unconsciously are giving the people around you or the people that you are, speaking to, whether that's on social media or on stage or, in coaching and therapy, what have you. Like when you show up authentically as yourself and you are vulnerable enough to let all parts of you be seen, you are giving people around you the permission to do the same because you're modeling that behavior. We talk about, okay, so now what do I do? Mary talks about you got to say the nice things in the morning and like we're checking in with ourselves like, okay, then we need to practice it and we need to practice it loudly. Okay. You can't just celebrate yourself loudly. You need to sit with some discomfort, be vulnerable, maybe not loudly, just honestly. We're sitting with ourselves honestly. Because again, we miss a lot of the how did Mary get from chapter 2 to chapter 30? Like what did that look like? What were those steps? Because people want to see themselves in something, someone, someplace, some action, or what have you. And one thing that I really learned about putting yourself out there is it's an opportunity to learn. When you put yourself out there in whatever capacity, whatever you're talking about, people will perceive you and people may judge you. And that's 100% about them and what they have going on. But people may also be like, hey, have you considered? Hey, have you thought about? Hey, like, did you know that actually that's not factual or that's not accurate. But it gives us all a chance to touch grass and touch humility and like be a human and know that like we don't have all of the answers. We are not all knowing and there's room for growth everywhere. And so again, somebody calling you in and giving you that opportunity to learn, but also like you modeling and giving somebody a chance to see themselves in that aspect. Because if you don't know what it looks like if I give you the IKEA dresser and I tell you to build it, no instructions, no picture, no YouTube video, you're gonna be like, what the fuck, Mandy? But then it's like, all right, fine. Here are the directions, but they're in Swedish. And you're like, okay, cool. Okay, here are the instructions in Swedish, and they also have pictures. You're like, all right, we can do something with this. I'm like, okay, here's the YouTube video. Here's somebody building it and showing you how to do it. Like your confidence builds through that progression, through that experience. You know, we all have to start somewhere. We all have to get those little baby training wheels. We all have to get the knowledge. And that just starts by putting yourself out there, Cassandra, and allowing people to see you at all stages and all parts, because then you get an opportunity for people to give feedback. You get an opportunity for people to, I mean, we yap at each other all day, every day. Okay. Some of us have more time in the day on Monday than Tuesday, whatever. Like one of us is yapping at each other, checking in. This is what I'm doing. This is what my goals are all day, every day. Okay. And eventually the rest of us get to join the group chat and be like, hey, have you thought about this? Or, hey, I'm really proud of you for this. Or like, you are killing it with this. And it's just like, thank you. Thank you. Because eyeballs that are not your own are always going to be kinder, generally speaking. And the eyeballs that are not being kind, then again, that is, give that back to them. Give those people back their energy, because it doesn't belong to you. That's not yours.
Well, and I was thinking too about you guys in a sense of creating these online friendships with people and how sometimes, you don't have people that live close to you. And so they're like, well, how do I find people to be in my circle that can hold me accountable? Start liking all the K-pop shit, and I promise you more K-pop comments, doing these things, right? And eventually you're going to DM each other and be like, hey, that was really cool, blah, blah, blah. Hey, let's change numbers. Let's meet in person. Like, just know that if you're in a small podunk fucking town, because we all grew up in one, we know how hard it is to meet people who have more opinions than just the small town feel. And that because of the internet and being so accessible to us, like we talked about, Mandy, about the globalness, about how we started off with Backstreet Boys because that's all we knew. But now we have the world, right? Like you could meet somebody and your bestie could live in England. Your bestie could live in South Africa, Kenya, like you're Vietnam, in Korea. Like you don't know, right? And so I think just know that start diving into these things and commenting and, whatever. You never know if you're going to meet somebody who then can be the person to call you in, because I know that I can talk to you guys and I tell you the things even when it sucks. And then when I don't do what I say I'm going to do, y'all are like, hey, Casi. And I'm like, shit. Right. But it holds me accountable. You guys are not mean about it. You just kind of go, hey, you said, Casi, that you were going to do this and you didn't do it. So what would you like to change? Like, you're not telling me anything. You're not telling me your opinion. You're literally pointing out straight facts, going, you said this, Casi. Here's your data. So like, how are we doing it? Right. And I think that's the other thing, is because we think when friends or whoever, Mary, you were talking about constructive criticism, we're trying to help and to grow. We're not trying to be like, oh, you fucking suck, Casi. You can't go do these things anymore. Like, no, you're just like, that didn't work. What are we shifting? What are we changing? And finding those people, because trust me, there are so many assholes in this world. And there's a lot of people that I don't tell things in my life anymore that I used to. In my 20s, I'm pretty sure everybody knew my life, probably because I was the life of the party. And man, if there was something going on, I was definitely there doing all the things, right? But now very small amount of people actually know what's going on in my life. And it's because I actually value the opinion of the people I'm telling are going in the same direction as me. And we've talked about this too. I can have other friends and I support them in whatever their life choices are. I just know that they're not going in the same direction as me. So it's hard for me to be like, oh my gosh, I'm doing all these things. And it sounds like bragging to those people, but really it's not. I'm just like so excited. And so I think I posted that on TikTok once, like it's get into a room where what you're saying doesn't feel like you're bragging anymore, right? And that they're just as fucking excited for you as you are for yourself, because you do. You deserve to be excited. You don't deserve to hide yourself and be like, oh, I like K-pop, but I don't want to really tell anybody. Nah, Mandy's loud. You'll fucking know. She's like, hello, you want to see this real quick? Like, Mary has impeccable style and makeup. I could never do that to save my fucking life. But like you said, your kid was like, I fucking love that about you. I promise she's not the only one. Like, we all notice those things, right? But you just like sit there and you're like, okay, I got to put myself out there. And I just want to say that the beautiful things that happen because of that, like both of you guys putting yourself out there, the things that have happened to you, and I've talked about this in other episodes, like it's crazy to think where the last 6 months have gone for both of you in the different avenues that you guys have chosen on different parts of your lives. And it all was because of one decision. So I'm proud of you guys, and y'all can do your yappy thing now.
So I'm proud of you and yap away.
Yep, yep, yep.
You're talking about the rooms that you're in and people. And so we talk about the quality over quantity, right?
Yeah.
And that's something you have to come to learn, right? In time, knowing that it really isn't about the number of people, but those that are with you. Everybody's always changing and we're always evolving. And sometimes those groups and those people that you fit in with at one point that just doesn't carry on to you to the next. And it's no fault of anybody's. It's just kind of the natural progression of that moment, right? And I believe that not always does it mean that we have to like firmly shut the door on those friendships. Now, sometimes, yeah, sometimes you really realize that things just don't align and it's not good energy, it's not for you, all those things. But a lot of the time it's kind of like, no, these people, this is where they're at, this is where I'm at, but we still have these commonalities and things. And if every now and then we get together for this type of thing, it meshes, it works. But it just doesn't mean that I share everything because they're just not a part of these parts of my life. And that's not keeping people out of it. It's just, I guess, delegating. It's the discernment of who not everybody in your life has to have access to every part of it. And that's not because you're not willing to share that with them or not. It's just because you don't align in that part. But I'm going to share with you the things that I do align with you in this part kind of deal.
Well, I want all of my friends to be successful and make all the money and do all the fucking things, right? But you have to want that for yourself too, right? Like,
Yeah.
I can't just be like, this is what you need to do. This is how you get there to make all this money and have all the time in the world. And if you don't believe that in yourself, I'll talk about it till I'm blue in the face. Mary says it all the time. You can lead a horse to water, but it doesn't mean they're going to drink it, right? So I want all my friends to be that way. But eventually you learn that they're comfortable where they're at, and that's okay. You do you, boo. I'm not here to be a judger, like, no judging, whatever, man. But, like, I want the best for you, but sometimes you don't want the best for yourself, and I don't wanna sit here and preach about it or talk about it, and you start to feel uncomfortable and start to resent me because I'm trying to push these beliefs on you. I'm trying to, "Come on, like, I know it, I know you could do that." Like, we talk about the potential of people. And so
And
sometimes it's just like reflecting, hey, I know that you're comfortable where you're at. If you want to go where I'm going, doors always open. But for right now, like chill where you're at. That's okay.
well, and that potential is oftentimes when you overgive on potential to people, it's because you wanted people to see that in you. You wanted people to show up for you. So you do that. And so it's recognizing that I'm going to show up for me. I see the potential in me. And that eliminates needing that from that external validation of that to then overgive it to other people. And so we were talking about like the judgments from people. And so asking yourself when you feel so strongly to try and like hang on to those that are providing that negative energy to you, or that you feel like there's judgment happening, whether you know it because it's been said or it's just something you feel, I would encourage you to ask yourself, like, what is it about me that really wants this person to get me or to be in my life or to have their approval? And reflect back on who they really are. And are they really somebody that has quality? Or am I just looking at the quantity from having this person? And so it's allowing us to know that we have different perceptions too. We might think somebody is judging us, right? Because we're judging us, and they may not have given it two thoughts. And so it's trying to find that balance and reframing your own beliefs, because if you focus on that negative and you think, oh, I'm going to be awkward, this is going to be bad, and then you are awkward and it is bad, what did you just reaffirm in your mind, right? Well, I would encourage you that if that comes and you're like, oh, yep, see, I knew that was bad, stop yourself in that moment and switch the words to what did you just learn in that moment? rather than, oh, see, I knew that was going to be that way. No, what did I just learn? And so like, I'll give an example for me. Just the other day, I was doing my lessons and stuff because I'm trying to finish up things so that I can go to this graduation in March. Praise the Gus. Anyways, and I did like 3 hours, several videos, right? There's still a lot left. And when I was done, I was just like, oh, I shouldn't be getting ready to go do fun things because I need to do more. And I was like, whoa. I was like, bitch, you just did 3 hours. That's good. That's more than you had done before. Good on you. Good on you. And it's catching yourself. And it takes a long time. Again, step 30 to step 2 to get to where you stop yourself. But it is that just slight moment when you catch yourself starting the negative thing, stop. Ask yourself, what's the lesson? Focus on what you did do good. Don't reframe the negative things. Don't reaffirm the good things. Reframe. And with that, all tied in, the judgment, the perceptions, the reframing is rejection is redirection and protection. And the only way I can encourage people, because of how I came to believe this, is literally every time something didn't go the way that I wanted or the way I thought, literally in that very moment, the first thing I would say to myself is, there's something else better. There's something different coming. I'm protected. This is just redirection. And whether I believed it or not in the beginning, none of this means to not let yourself feel the feelings of disappointment and the hurt, because you need to feel that. It's, what's our word? Duality. It's balancing. You've got to feel that, but also right in that moment, say the thing that's the positive, the focus, the reframe. And I promise you, rejection, redirection, and protection every time. And look at the proof in your own life that supports that. Again, another TikTok I did this week. You have proof. You are the evidence that something that didn't go right, as awful and horrible as whatever it was, following after it were things that fell into place, things that were better, things you didn't expect. Find the proof. Reaffirm in your mind the positives, not just the negative.
I think that is beautiful. And if our listeners have anything that they want to contribute, feedback, tell us a story, it will be in the show notes. But we appreciate you all being here on our very yappy episode this week. And we look forward to you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.